Hello, welcome back to Sarah's Joyful Journey. I'm Sarah Joy. I'm so excited to be sitting down and going over another week on my keto health journey. It's been an interesting week, a busy week. Lots of things happened. It was my birthday last week, so you got to see little bits of our celebration, and then classes opened up. So this week is my first week back into classes. It's week 2 or term 2, not week 2. So I'm excited about that, and I've got a lot to keep me busy. So last week when I weighed in, I was up in weight. I was 220.9 pounds, and I said I was going to try to go the whole week without weighing. I did not make it the whole week, but I only weighed twice. So I'm calling that a major victory. My weight was down. It was down to 215.6, so I am down 5.3 pounds, which is great. I've done a lot of thinking this week as well. I want to continue hopefully losing a little bit more weight each week. But one thing that, has really come up in the past week with a lot of thinking and things is just setting my priorities and getting my priorities organized, focusing on what's the most important. So that was been the overarching theme of the last several days, is just figuring out what are those priorities, what does that look like, how am I going to manage that. So one thing that is a priority is going to be my health. But I would have to say that where I'm at in my journey, it's not my number one goal at this point. Definitely my number one goal is school, because I'm putting so much time and energy and expenses. Getting a Ph.D. is not cheap into that. So school is that number one priority. So going forward, I'm still going to be hoping to lose some weight, but I am going to take some pressure and stress off myself, and I'm not going to put a major focus on that. I want to make sure that while I'm still achieving my health goals, I just slow down a bit. So I'm going to be going into more of a maintenance type thing. My goal is I would like to still lose like 4 or 5 pounds a month, but I'm going to take pressure off of myself by just focusing on what I know I need to be eating, making sure I'm getting plenty of movement, keeping my stress as low as possible, which is not easy when you're a PhD student. I think that just being a student of any kind is its own level of stress. So I know that I'm going to have a lot of that going forward. So I want to take some pressure off areas where I can. And that means that I am just going to kind of just keep doing what I'm doing and not feel a lot of pressure to be making a lot of forward progress getting to my weight goal, because I didn't get overweight and unhealthy overnight. That took months, if not years. Months and years. I mean, the first batch of weight that I gained, I did gain really quickly, but for the most part, it has taken me years to get to where I was. It's okay if it's going to take me years to get to where I want to be. And with school being a major priority and a major focus, I think it's going to take me that long, just because I have to manage other areas of my life just to make sure that I have plenty of time and energy and focus to go into school. That is still going to mean eating properly, moving properly, all those things. It's just, I think when you're trying to lose weight, your focus can get lost off of other things. So for now, I'm just going to keep ketovoring on, because I have really discovered I'm definitely more of a person who is a ketovore person to merely carnivore. For the month of September, I am going to be doing a carnivore-ish focus. My goal is I want to make sure all my meals are meat-based. I am going to allow myself some keto chow in a couple different formats. Considering possibly ordering some beef soup base so that I can make some chaffles, potentially. I'm not a huge chaffle person, so I don't know why I'd want to do that, but I do like them every once in a while, and it might be fun to make a more meat-based chaffle. I know there's other recipes with pork rinds, and I might have to try out a few and see if I can find one, But I also know that Keto Chow has mentioned in the past that their beef soup base is Keto Chow core without the chocolate and sweetener. So I was like, okay, I can see that. That can become more of a keto aligned or carnivore aligned product. I'm not saying it is a carnivore product, but it works for me. And this is my journey, and I'm focusing on what works for me and what I can sustain and what is manageable for me. And that's how I'm going forward. I'm not going to be dogmatic. I'm not getting into all the rules of what is keto, ketovore, keto, carnivore. They're all a spectrum. And we as individuals have to find the right level that works for us. So that's what I am doing. But I'm also going to allow Keto Chow in egg pudding because I am addicted to this stuff. I make it at least once a week, and it usually gets me, I can get about 4 or 5 servings, typically about 5 servings out of it, which gets me through my work week. It's part of what I bring for lunch. I almost always bring the same thing for lunch every day. I take my egg life wraps and I make some sort of sandwich wrap with meat, usually pastrami. This week I haven't ordered groceries yet, so I'll order pastrami, so it might be early on. I may have some chicken salad, so I might prep some chicken salad because I haven't had it in a while. I'll make some bacon and throw that in there. I did a little bit of a chicken salad yesterday that I enjoyed. Of course, I probably won't do it moving forward with my carnivore challenge. I may. We'll see. Like I said, it is all about figuring out what works best for me and is sustainable for me. And I know when I do too many veggies, too much tomato products, it's not that I don't like them. It tends to be too much for me. So I need to keep my carbs pretty low. So that's going to be my focus. I'm going to try and keep them under 10 total carbs. May or may not happen. We'll see how it goes. But that's my goal. I'm allowing the Keto Chow for the egg pudding because that's my daily lunch at work. And I'm going to allow myself 1 creamy a week as kind of like a treat, usually on Sunday nights, because that's when we come home. It's our Friday from our work week. So I clean up and I tend to not do much homework on Sunday nights. So it's kind of like a nice little way just to, have a quick, easy dinner. It's usually what it turns out to be is just dinner. I just don't want to cook because I'm just tired and done at that point. So we'll have that for dinner if there isn't leftovers. So I do want to keep that part moving forward in with my carnivore-ish challenge for September. So we're going to see how that goes. We're going to figure out what works for me and continue figuring out what is sustainable for me. I know that I will never completely cut out vegetables because I do enjoy them. I enjoy the onions and red peppers. I like pickles and avocados, and I do occasionally enjoy a salad. I tend to steer away from salads a lot at home just because I can't eat the veggies fast enough. I'm pretty much the only one that eats the veggies. So I like to keep my veggies more of like a flavoring level. And we're going to see how that looks and how that works through the month of September and further refine my journey. So one thing that I have noticed since the past couple weeks, and my mom actually mentioned it to me, is since I stopped Mounjaro and the scale went up, I have extra fullness in my face and a little bit more in my belly. And I wanted to be upset when she first told me that, because I think that's our gut reaction, is to think that that is automatically a negative thing and that is automatically a criticism. However, that was not the intent of the comment. The comment was just, hey, I notice you're fuller in the face and you have a little bit fuller in the belly. And I didn't want to accept that at first. But I've had a couple other comments from people at work saying that I look really beautiful and what have I done differently. And literally the only thing that's been done differently is I gained a few pounds as a result of coming off the Mounjaro. So while I don't think I had total Ozempic face, I really do think that that was part of it. My face was very, very thin. Not quite gaunt looking, but close. So stopping has filled my face out. And that's going to continue to change as I continue on my journey. I'm still 215 pounds, and I want to get to I've got a lot to go, put it that way. I don't know what my end weight goal is. I have several numbers in mind of where I would potentially be happy. And we'll have to see what it looks like when I get there or get around there. And, you know, life is going to kind of dictate when and how I get there. So I'm just not going to stress about it. So yeah, I've noticed a little bit more fullness in my face. Hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll balance back out and I'll be back down to where I was at the beginning of August. Towards the beginning of August, I was down to 207. And I would really, 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 really like to, by the end of the year, be under 200 pounds. It's doable, but I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to go out of my way to make sure it happens and make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to, again, eat the way that I'm supposed to be eating, what works best for me, and just let the diet optimize my health, and try not to overeat, which I've done a lot better with now that it's been a few more weeks since I've been off of Ozempic. There was a period there where I was really hungry, and I think that was a result of lots of exercise. This week, I have not done as much exercise because school has opened back up, and it's a lot. I have a big class load this term that's going to keep me very busy, which is going to make exercise even more challenging. So I still have to keep up on it and find ways to make it work. The past several days have only been my activity points at work. So I am still working on my 5,000 minute challenge. I have 4,128 minutes remaining. Hopefully after this video, I'm gonna get outside and we're gonna go up to the lake and I'm gonna do a nice big walk. It's going to be hot, so I'll bring some water. Because I want to rack up some good minutes because it is Monday and I'm off. And yes, I have a ton of homework and that isn't going to change, but I do want to take advantage of the fact that I have a little bit more time to be active. But over the past few days, it's just been work, activity, and I usually average about 30 minutes. So I'm okay. So I think going forward, minus today at work, I'm going to try to come home and I'm going to try to do a 15-minute walk on the treadmill. I want to try to get some strength training in. I haven't figured out quite how to do that with the new schedule and school schedule because it is important. But I also know that I want to get it in 3 days a week. So it may or may not happen this week. I really just need to get into school and keep my focus there, and figure out other ways that I can fine tune, things and get in that strength training. But I want to keep minimum activity of walking is a must. Strength training is also important, but it's not the biggest drive at this point, because now that I'm off the Mounjaro, I'm stopping the faster muscle loss. So while I still want to increase my strength and still move forward with that, there's only so many hours in the day, and I've got to put them where they are going to best benefit me in the long run, which is school. All right, so again, like I've mentioned several times already, class is open this week and I'm excited. I'm nervous. One of the classes is a graduate writing level class, which I was very annoyed with when I found out that I had to take last term, because I've always envisioned myself as being a fairly strong writer. Through undergrad, all my papers have been good. All the feedback I've received in my classes so far has been I'm at graduate level writing, except when I did that doctoral writing assessment, they said not so much. I was able to skip the first level class and I'm in a second level class, which I have a feeling that's probably where most people ended up anyway. I don't know of any one of my classmates who was able to completely test out of the graduate level writing. So I tried to take that and put that in perspective and think that, okay, this is something that I can focus on and I can look at from a positive spin and think about how it can help me improve. I'm nervous about it. I've looked through all the assignments. I have a discussion board to do every week, which is just basically a writing topic and refining process. And then the other thing is that we have to submit writings from previous assignments and accept the feedback and record all the feedback. The part that I'm really, really nervous about is the feedback. I don't always take feedback well. I can see feedback through a lens of like rejection dysphoria and all this kind of stuff. So I tend to take it way too close and make it bigger deal than what it's intended to be. So I'm trying to think that this is a good opportunity to learn to accept feedback better. Most of the feedback that I've gotten in other things, in other areas of my life, has just been, oh, you're great, keep doing what you're doing. So I guess you can argue that that's really not feedback. So it'll be interesting. I hope it goes well, but I'm very, very nervous about receiving that feedback. I am afraid that it's going to be too critical or I'm going to be too sensitive to it. So hopefully it will go well and I'll be able to use it as a good learning opportunity. I'm really excited about my lifespan development class. I really liked developmental psychology in undergrad. Funny thing is I think, I'm not entirely positive, but I think the book I have for the class now is the same book I used in undergrad. But that's been like 5 years. So I'm like, this sounds awful familiar, but I can't say for sure. And it's a newer edition for sure if it is the same book. So it'll be interesting to see how they use that book in a graduate level class versus an undergrad class, because there are only so many textbooks. And then I have to do a big project. I had to pick an influential person, and I have to start on my final project next week because classes are 11 weeks long, so it's going to be quick. So I have to do a summary that picks the person. When I sat down, I was like, there's infinite level of people that I could find interesting and influential. So I ended up picking Sigmund Freud. I ordered one book, it came. I was thinking less pages, good, right? I can read it quicker. Yeah, less pages was not good. It was 100 pages and it was like about that big of a book. And I went, and this is written in giant print. And I was like, yeah, it was a self-published book, which I'm not knocking self-published books, but sometimes they are not the most scholarly books to be using. So I kind of said, this book isn't going to work, and returned it. And then I got an ebook for another one on Sigmund Freud, and I started reading it. It's really exciting, and I will read the book. However, one thing that the author did say was that if you're wanting a more traditional biography, this isn't the book. And I was like, okay. So he did recommend a couple other books for a more traditional biography, and I ended up ordering one of those, which will be used for my class. But I'm still going to read this one because I find the guy was very interesting. He has 2 doctorates. One is in clinical psych, and the other is in psychoanalysis from the 70s. So he's very knowledgeable in the psychology realm with all the training that he's had. He's been involved in psychoanalysis, so I figured his assessment of Freud is going to definitely take that perspective into view because Freud was the father of psychoanalysis. So I'm still going to read the book. It's just not going to be a priority. My other book should be here in a few days, about a week or so. It said by the 5th, so I've got like a week, and I'm hoping it's here much sooner than that. It's an out of print book, so it's gonna just take longer to get here because of the way things are shipping. They didn't have a digital format, but if it gets here by Tuesday the 5th, I still have about a week that I can read that. It's about a 500-page book. In the meantime, I might be reading this one because I might be able to apply it to my project, and I'd rather be reading and working towards that project and then instead of just sitting here doing nothing. So I've got that coming to do. So I've submitted homework for one class already this morning. I just have to do some follow-up assignments for that class. It's good. It's my writing class. It's the easiest class of the week. So I'm just going to try to get that one done right off the bat each week. And then I'm working on my lifespan development class. I have a couple more things to read. Like I have a half article to read, and then I just need to sit down and do my discussion board post. So I'm going to be doing that this evening, and then start reading for my culture and psychology class, so that hopefully tomorrow I can get that discussion board done so that I can start working on week 2 with the reading, because there is so much reading this term. So much reading, and throwing a book on top of that. I'm a slow reader. I wish I could read faster. I've tried techniques for reading faster, but I tend to lose the information. So I don't want to lose the information. I'm going to take as long as it needs to take to get the information absorbed the best that I can, so that I can apply it, because that's what grad school is about. It's about critical thinking and applying and that thinking, and sharing what you think, and in a well-formatted format, I guess is a good way to say it. All right. So one other thing that kind of has come up in the past day, it's fairly recent, and I'm sitting with it. I don't know if it's entirely the route that I want to go, but we were talking at work how Florida is desperate for teachers. Well, so I was like, okay, well, maybe this is something that I should look into, because I do want to teach at the college and university level. So teaching experience is teaching experience. I mean, there's differences, obviously, but it's still experience. So I got into looking at it, and I can teach with my bachelor's of science in psychology. I can teach at the middle school or high school level in social sciences. So I'm looking into the possibility of potentially becoming a teacher. I just don't know if it's the right path for me. What is attractive about it is that it could give me extra time with the summers off to focus on school, especially when it comes to dissertation level. I would have a more traditional school or work schedule. Still lots of hours, obviously, but a little bit more traditional. I'd have Saturdays and Sundays off, and I would have still have decent amount of time in the evenings. I am kind of nervous that it could be too much work. Not that I'm afraid of that, but like I said, I've got to balance the work and school, because school is my future. So that is my major priority right now, is getting that done. So I don't know. And the one thing that stops me from also right now is that we only have one car. Being a teacher and having everybody else work at Disney with one car would not work for us. So we have to consider, are we going to do another car? So it's one of those things where I want to do some more research, and I could look into it, and I could go that route probably in a year. Possibly two. The one benefit too would be I would be making a little bit more money than I am now at Disney. So that has some attractive benefits as well, because it could take some of the pressure off financial burdens, which could help me pay for school and some other things, because I do have one term a year if I want to keep going that I do have to pay for out of pocket, and having extra money earning potential will help with that. So that's all that I've really got going on this week moving forward. I'm excited. I'm supposed to be hanging out with a friend in a couple days. I don't know if that's happening. There is currently a hurricane heading our way. We're under a tropical storm warning in our county. I'm not worried about it. I have some water. I have things ready to go. I just gotta keep on my toes and see what Disney's gonna do. They're probably not gonna do anything. It doesn't look like it's going to be that major of a hurricane, but of course things can change along the way. So we'll just have to see how that goes. And then it's just going to be get lots of schoolwork done and focus on eating good foods and trying to get at least 45 minutes of activity in a day. So that should keep me going on my goal towards earning my air fryer, which I really do want, and completing that 5,000 minutes. So that's all I have for you guys. So just share how your week is going. I love reading your comments. If you like this video, like, subscribe, share, comment below. I do enjoy reading those, and I will talk to you guys next week.